Let's take a look at the let and var keywords for variable declarations. If you saw my JavaScript Getting Started course here on Pluralsight, I primarily use the let keyword, but you can also declare variables with the var keyword. Let's see the difference. So here we're creating a variable called carID using the let keyword, and we're assigning 42. Now if we try to reference carID before we declare it, we get an error, and that makes total sense. Programs execute from the top to bottom, and we're trying to use a variable that isn't declared yet. However, now we're declaring carID using the var keyword. And if we try to access carID, we do not get an error. CarID will be undefined. And this is very strange behavior to people who come from programming languages such as C, C++, or Java. And that's one of the reasons why the let keyword is preferred over var. Another difference between let and var has to do with scope. Here we have a code block for our if statement. The code block is between the curly braces. We're declaring a variable called foo, initializing it to 9, but then outside of that block, we reference foo, and that's fine. We get the value 9, but let works differently. Now in our code block, we're using the let keyword. So the variable foo will only exist within that code block. Let has block scoping. Once program execution leaves that block, the variable foo no longer exists. So when we try to log it out, we get an error. So it's very important to keep in mind that let has block scoping and var doesn't. Let's see this in a demo. We'll use var to create a variable, and let's try to access carID before it's declared. I'll save it, and we get undefined. Now if we use the let keyword instead of var, I'll save it, and you can see we get an error. carID is not defined. And that's actually the preferred behavior. If a developer starts using variables before they're declared, we want an error to be thrown. So that's why it's the best practice to use let over var. And let's also take a look at using block scope. If we create a block, we'll use the let keyword to assign 100 to carID. I'll save it. And for line 5, we get carID is not defined. So carID only exists within this if block. If we use the var keyword instead of let, I'll save it. And we get the value 100. There's no error thrown. So those are the two main reasons why let is preferred over var. Let helps you catch errors earlier as you're coding, because the compiler will complain if there's a problem with your code. In the next video, we'll take a look at a modern feature of JavaScript called REST parameters.